I've been researching the KGB.
Welcome to Trash Pile, a dumpster diving adventure into streaming piles of trash. Notice, I didn't specify movies in the intro. That's good, because today's feature, 2023's The Twitter Files, is only 47 minutes long, including credits. JC Film Studios calls it a film, but I'm not going to let them get away with that. A quick note on JC Films. Like your previous entry of Trash Pile, JC Films is a no-budget, no-effort studio who makes incredibly bad propaganda pieces for a select and specific conservative audience. JC Films has some actual actors, like Dean Cain, Kevin Sorbo, and newcomer to the Hollywood washout-turned-right-wing grifter space, Eddie McClintock, who you might recall from the old sci-fi show Warehouse 13, which, full disclosure, I watched every episode of and it was pretty fun. Despite the star power, the productions are poor, boring, and utterly uninteresting, with a rotating cast of the same actors showing up over and over, terrible scripts, bland sets, and horrible music. I could go on forever, but let's just get into it. The Twitter Files. These were the real-life series of reports and info dumps from Twitter's CEO and sentient mold Elon Musk. These reports were handed off to conservative media figures who tried to prove that Twitter worked hand-in-hand with the FBI to get Biden elected, silence Republican voices, and a bunch of other common conservative complaints. In reality, Twitter just did some normal community management stuff, and conservatives got the short end of the stick, because of course the people tweeting threats of violence, disinformation, and conspiracy theories would get pushed down the algorithm a little bit. This production of the Twitter Files isn't your usual inspired by a true story. Instead, it changes all the names, pretends the conspiracies were true, and adds a fun little Russian twist. And speaking of Russia,
generation needs to know about. So for my paper on Russian history, I will be writing about Vladimir Putin.
All right.
Our story begins in a totally normal way, with the teacher telling a bunch of 10-year-olds to write papers about Russian history, and then getting mad at them for the students writing about Russian history.
Okay, you guys, when I said to write about Russian history, I meant to write about something relevant. Yes, relevant? Okay?
Okay. The teacher berates this student for completing her assignment, which is how we are introduced to Bree, one of our heroic leads.
I've been researching the KGB.
Bree is a proud anti-woke culture warrior who hates her teacher and loves stealing her dad's credit card, which really is the perfect encapsulation of the GOP today. After Bree sits disappointed that the man is keeping her free speech down, we're given an interesting parallel. A new team of FBI agents is taking over a large, empty office.
There's obviously plenty of work to be done, and if not, hey, we'll make stuff up, right?
The head of this new FBI team complains that he has way too much office space, too much money, and too many agents. So he goes into his little office and wanders around, just kind of looking like a schlub, complaining about things and groaning for almost 45 seconds.
Hey, honey. Yeah, no, it's okay. It's just, it's kind of a mess.
Hey, buddy, I thought I was doing the commentary. All through the Twitter Files, by the way, they show these little montages from Fox News. I'm gonna skip past them because they don't really mean anything, and I don't know why they're there, other than to give conservative audiences something that they are familiar with. Anyway, let's meet our other protagonist, Bree's father, Mark.
Oh, hey. How do I do it? All right.
Bree tells her dad about her terrible day.
Ah, yes, the great and wise Miss Parker. She the one that sent you home with the white privilege worksheet?
Yep, same one.
A true sign of professional filmmaking is a character turning their back to the camera, rustling around some potato chip bags, and talking from the other side of the room. That's golden. We should do that more often.
From this history class, it's like you think America was a bunch of losers. Do you think America is a bunch of losers?
No, not like Miss Parker.
I'm a parent. My kid has had teachers that I didn't really agree with, but I didn't spend my time at the kitchen table talking trash about them. That's not a very good, appropriate, mature, adult way to handle things. But this is a movie for conservatives, so screaming at teachers for teaching kids is kind of normal.
Babe, I'm sorry. I gotta go into the office.
All right, folks, strap in.
The new owner of Twitter just called for you.
Elon Musk.
Okay, there's no way that they were going to actually get Elon Musk to do a role for this, right? He's not going to be in here. So are they going to do a voiceover with an actor, a sound-alike, or maybe an AI voice to do Elon? He would probably enjoy that. Let's see what they do.
Hello.
Yeah, hi. This is Mark Walker. I'm returning your call.
Out of all the ways of handling that, having a bad Elon impersonator say hello and then just silence while our protagonist stares at the phone, that's the worst way you could have done this. I hope they don't do this again later.
So, what do you think the difference is between the Nazi propaganda during World War II and the KGB's propaganda during the Cold War? About the same, right?
Oh no, I don't think they're qualified to have this conversation. No, he should not. Uh-oh.
So people who get power, right?
Mm.
They want to keep the power,
Yeah.
and they don't want anyone else taking that power away from them.
But it's based on lies.
Well, yeah, but there aren't really any lies anymore. It's all just kind of gray.
When you're talking about Nazi propaganda being shades of gray, that kind of implies that it's both truth and a lie. It's both right and wrong. That's what gray is. It's somewhere in the middle. So that's cool. Nazi propaganda. Some of it was true, and some of it was right.
See, the thing is no one really has to lie anymore as long as you stay in the gray.
Guys, if you want people to respect you, you need to stop talking about Nazi propaganda being shades of gray, okay? You just need to say it's bad. Just say it's bad. This is not going to help you beat the allegations, okay? This doesn't help.
Come on, director's gonna give a talk.
I love that they didn't even bother to furnish the set.
I'm Director Greer. I run SOMEX here at the FBI. That stands for Social Media Exploration. We are a top secret division of the National Threat Operations Center.
Somex sounds fake, but it's actually real. And it's not top secret because you can just Google it.
And when the bad guys got on the internet, we got on the internet. Now, in the wake of January 6th, the Bureau has hired you to join this task force and spent $27 million in new technology to do what?
To monitor social media.
You spent $27 million on this unfurnished building and that agent who could barely even squeak out a word?
Social media companies are our friends.
So now we get to the heart of the matter as the FBI boss gives his pitch.
As there are increasing threats and attacks from right-wing domestic terrorist groups, we are increasing our involvement in social media. I'm talking about threats, misinformation. Imagine if with one click of a button, you can make any of those posts disappear, unavailable to be searched.
How could you get these private posts removed?
Let's call it hearsay. We remind these companies of their terms of service agreements, and then we remind them that we are the FBI.
Let me be clear here, I did not edit anything out of order. In the timeline of this production, Twitter CEO Elon Musk comes to Mark with a pitch to release the Twitter files, and then the FBI boss tells his people that they're going to start working with social media companies to silence conservative voices. The whole thing is backwards. Elon Musk is supposedly exposing a crime that he himself, as the head of Twitter, is about to commit with the FBI.
I just feel this is so wrong. I just feel so uncomfortable with this.
Our name's going to be on those reports if we look into it or have an investigation.
It's wrong. I mean,
Just the whole thing is unconstitutional.
He just told us this is what we're supposed to do, and greenlighted it and told us to get to work.
Alright, so remember that. The FBI boss has explicitly greenlit this entire operation. He knows that it's happening. He told his agents to do it. We saw it just now.
I didn't sign up for a job like this, man.
I don't understand. I just don't understand.
So now that the FBI has decided to begin working with social media companies to take down conservative voices, Elon Musk decides to release the Twitter files.
I followed your career. You follow the facts. The media today just create theories. Then they will report the narratives regardless if the facts prove otherwise. I don't see you doing that.
It's so hard to understand how they got the basics of this entire story wrong.
I think I'm going to call it the Twitter files.
Back at the FBI, the agents start discussing the Twitter files that have already been released. I guess sometime between the last two scenes, which were only about 5 minutes apart, was when they actually did all the colluding.
Who is this guy? Mark Walker.
He's an independent journalist.
Anyone here ever heard of him?
No.
Mark is explicitly not an independent journalist. The story began with him talking to his boss and the lawyers of the newspaper that he works for.
We advise them that if the information is suspicious, they should block or delete the accounts based on the grounds of their own terms of service agreements.
So you talked to them?
I never said that.
You just said you talked to him, and also all the agents in this room are also talking to them. It's their entire job.
So the Bureau's influencing social media. It says right here, government agencies. Are we those government agencies?
Right.
Yes, you're the agents. That's the job you've been doing. You've been coming to work every day and doing this thing, this job you were hired for. Holy shit, this guy is dumb.
This is going to blow up, sir. There's no evidence that there's been Russian influence.
All right, we're talking about Russia again. Let's tie these stories together.
You know how everyone loves a good Russia spy theory.
Okay, I'm going to do my best to summarize what happens next with this whole Russia thing, so we're going to speed through this. Bald FBI guy gets fired for speaking out against the social media engineering that the whole FBI team is doing. It turns out Bald FBI guy is the agent who found the Hunter Biden laptop, and he implies that he kept copies of the material. Beardy FBI guy confronts Bald FBI guy about it. FBI boss complains to his wife about how, at his orders, the FBI is doing the social media engineering that was his idea and that he does every day, except now he seems that he's sad about doing it?
Now we're asking them to bury information, political information, ban people, ban ideas. Every agency in this town is in on it. There's no telling how big this goes.
I think how high it goes is to your office, because you're the one doing it. Beardy FBI guy meets with Mark for a pointless conversation, and then gets on the phone and speaks terrible Russian to someone.
No, я только что встретился с этим Mike Walker.
The FBI boss blows up in another meeting where his agents confront him for talking to the social media companies.
I ask you, Director Greer, how many trips did you make out to the West Coast to visit Twitter?
I don't answer to you.
And then...
No investigation. Leave it alone, sir.
You sound like my wife. And by the way, when did I start taking orders from you?
Well, you always have. До свидания.
The FBI boss's wife and a lawyer meet with Bald FBI guy in hopes of representing him in court and getting a shot at the Hunter Biden laptop. I think the Twitter files is trying to imply here is that the FBI is being run by secret Russians. So the Russians are the ones working with social media to hold conservatives down? Okay, cool. That's your theory. I guess you're sticking to it. Okay, but back to our protagonists. What does all the Russia stuff have to do with this? Nothing really. They don't tie together. Mark has another one of his weird conversations where he's talking, but there's nobody on the other side.
They wrote the rules and censored anyone that objected. Well, thank you. I really appreciate it.
Some people decide that they hate Mark for the Twitter files, so they throw a brick through the window, and he and his daughter share a laugh while dreaming about hurting liberals.
Can we get a dog?
Ooh.
Like, I mean, a mean, ferocious, liberal, biting dog.
Yes.
Bree does a bunch of anti-woke stuff.
I did my research.
and then gets in a final brave confrontation with her teacher.
Some kid puked in the hallway. I was helping clean her up.
This is my classroom. And when people try to circumvent the rules with, I was trying to help, the culture suffers.
What does that have to do with me, huh?
Hey, why don't you ask your father, since he has no problem filling minds with poison of right-wing rhetoric.
Is this a history class or Rope 101?
Pardon me?
These ideals you teach are going to destroy my generation.
Get out.
They asked a lot of big questions, but they didn't give any good answers.
So what's the difference between you releasing this private narrative of events and them censoring what they want on their private platform? It's private. Can't they just post what they want?
And when it's all said and done, her dad gives her a Walter Cronkite book, and Bree implies that she's going to become a journalist, which he loves. So great, I don't really know what we learned. Look, I know in the age of Trump press conferences and the endless soundbite-seeking talking heads of Fox News, I get it. The ability of the conservative mind to absorb facts and comprehend reality is broken. The loudest voice in the room gets the attention, and the more insults, slurs, and wild allegations, the better. Fine. But they have to know this isn't sustainable. If you encourage your base voters to not think, you'll eventually get a voting bloc of senseless cattle who can easily be swayed by whomever waves some frosty chocolate milkshakes in their face. I see this all the time in my prison colony, Texas, a place where the education system is designed to enrich the rich kids and keep everyone else as dumb as possible. It works. My entire adult life, I've been ruled by conservative assholes. But at the same time, we're looking at 20 plus years of the Texas GOP making life bad for their voters, then saying, look at how the liberals are ruining your lives. One of these days, the conservative masses around here will wake up and realize that their life is worse now than it was 10 years ago, and the same people have been in charge the whole time. This plan to dumb down your voters to keep them voting for you is not sustainable. You have to do better. So, if you're gonna do disinformation, let's see a better class of propagandists. Think before you edit. Ponder before you write. Try to make these stories work in a way that can really tell the story you want to trick people with. You're already changing facts and reality. Take it a step further and just make the damn thing coherent at least. You owe us this much if you're going to spit in our face and tell us it's rain. As always, drop a comment if you've got another great piece of bad storytelling to tackle. And all of the usual, like and subscribe if you want more of this. I'd love to release on a regular schedule, but I have to deal with a lot of annoying copyright stuff because the owner of these productions keep assuming that I'm not doing commentary or parody, which I clearly am. I've got a few stories in the queue ready for you to see, and definitely look forward to more from JC Studio Films. It looks like they did another based on a true story flick about the gay wedding cake fiasco, which also stars Eddie McClintock. I hope it makes more sense than this one. Take care of yourselves, and I'll see you next time.